When you think about leaders who truly leave a mark, it's often not the ones with the loudest strategies, is it?
No, not usually. The ones who really resonate, who have that lasting impact.
They're the ones who shape others just by how they live, kind of quietly.
Uh-huh.
Their influence multiplies even when they're not around.
Exactly. And that feels so countercultural today.
It really does. We're so obsessed with self-made success, radical independence,
But that model maybe doesn't lead to sustained impact.
which is essential. Okay, let's unpack this.
Let's do it.
So today, we're diving deep into some sources that really challenge this myth of, the self-sufficient leader.
Yeah, the lone genius myth.
Right. And our mission here is to figure out how modeling dependence, humility, actually doesn't just sustain influence, but multiplies it.
Turning hierarchy into something more like an engine for growth.
Yeah. And look, here's the tension you're probably feeling, the listener. Your teams, they want guidance, they're hungry for it.
Absolutely. But they are so tired of old school hierarchy.
So weary of it. They want real mentorship, but not another power ladder in disguise.
They're looking for guides who admit they don't have every single answer.
Mm-hmm. And that tension, you're saying, it's because the whole landscape is shifting so fast.
It really is. Organizations, expectations, everything's changing at lightning speed.
So relying on just one person's expertise.
It just doesn't cut it anymore. The pace of change, it'll always outrun any single leader's capacity. Always.
Okay, but if things are changing so fast, why not just put a super expert in charge? Someone hyper-competent, efficient, who just performs flawlessly on their own.
Because fundamentally, that model is broken for long-term health. It just is.
Right.
The leader who's truly effective has to shift their focus. It can't be about performing in isolation.
It needs to be about
creating impact that continues through others. It's
Yeah.
about multiplication.
So sustained leadership isn't about charisma or authority then?
Not primarily. It has to be multiplied through intentional mentorship. And that mentorship, it flows from a posture of grounded dependence, not rigid authority.
Grounded dependence.
Yeah. And look, every great leader, eventually, they face that really humbling question, who's going to carry the torch when I'm not here?
That's the legacy question.
It is. But cultivating leaders this way, through humble, multiplying mentorship, it's kind of become a lost discipline in our culture, hasn't it?
It feels like it. All about individual achievement now.
Right.
So if multiplication is the goal, we need to understand why dependence is the right starting point,
Yeah.
the right posture.
Yes.
And this is where our sources get really interesting. They take us back to some ancient wisdom.
They do. Suggesting dependence isn't a weakness at all. It's actually primal, foundational, woven into us.
Woven in, how so?
Well, think about the core design. If you look at, say, the creation narrative, humanity was designed for dependence. Adam wasn't self-made. He was, fashioned from the earth, animated by a higher power's breath. His very existence relied on divine initiative.
So dependence wasn't a bug, it was a feature.
It was the design itself, intended to foster ongoing relationship reliance.
And the fall then,
Yeah,
that first temptation. It was basically an invitation to ditch that design, right? To go it alone.
precisely. An invitation to autonomy. That ancient lie was basically, you can live independently of the creator's wisdom, trade secure dependence for...
This crushing burden of self-reliance.
Exactly, which is exhausting.
Yeah.
And the really profound insight here is that the redemption story, the gospel, it's about restoring that original design.
Okay.
When the incarnate Son of God comes into the world, he perfectly models this radical dependence. It's stunning, really.
He actually said, I can do nothing on my own.
Repeatedly, that statement alone, it just changes everything about how we view power, doesn't it?
It really does. The one person with ultimate power chooses to operate entirely within the bounds of, dependence.
It's the ultimate paradox. Think about Gethsemane, facing unimaginable pressure.
His prayer wasn't about his own will.
No, it was surrender. Not my will, but yours be done.
Wow.
So the implication for us, for leaders today, it's pretty stark.
If the Son of God embraced dependence.
We absolutely must move from this constant striving, this need to control everything.
His humble surrender.
Yes, that's the shift.
And when we talk about surrender, it's always aimed at multiplication, isn't it? Not control.
Always, that's the goal.
Paul lays out a strategy for this, doesn't he? In 2 Timothy 2:2. People often see that as a blueprint.
It really is. It's a 4-generational impact strategy he outlines.
4 generations.
Yeah, he tells Timothy, the things you heard me say Entrust them to reliable people
Okay.
who will also be qualified to teach others. See the chain.
Paul to Timothy.
Timothy to reliable people.
Those reliable people to others. It's a ripple effect.
Exactly. A chain reaction designed for multiplication across time.
So the point isn't just making clones who mimic your skills.
No. It's raising up new mentors who can keep that chain going. Sustain it.
Okay, but hang on. Let's push back a bit here. Friction time.
Okay.
In today's world, high stakes, competitive. If I stand up in front of my board or my team and say, look, I need help, I'm weak here, I actually don't know the answer.
Mm-hmm.
Am I not just asking for trouble, inviting rivals to step in, or making my team lose confidence when things are uncertain?
That's the fear, isn't it? And it's a very real corporate fear. It's built around that myth of the invincible leader.
Right. The leader who has it all together.
Yeah. And when leaders project that aura, that flawless execution, unwavering confidence, sure, they might get temporary success.
Right.
But their example is toxic long-term. It sets an impossible standard, unreplicable.
Which guarantees isolation and burnout for them.
Yeah, exactly. And for the next generation.
It creates paralysis. They look at that perfect facade and think, I have to be that before I can even try.
Precisely. Which is why the source material really hammers this power paradox.
The power paradox.
Yeah, that true strength, true spiritual power, it's actually unveiled most clearly when we acknowledge our dependence on a greater source.
Paul talks about this, right? With his thorn in the flesh.
He does in 2 Corinthians 12. It's a powerful story. He begged for it to be removed 3 times.
And the answer he got,
Was tectonic, as you said. My grace is sufficient for you.
for my power is made perfect in weakness.
Think about that. Perfected in weakness.
So his limitation wasn't a liability. It was actually the channel for strength beyond his own.
And he got it. He embraced it. He said he'd boast in his weaknesses so that Christ's strength could rest on him.
When I am weak, then I am strong.
That's the paradox. And that transparency, that's the critical difference.
Between a high performer who's ultimately alone.
And a true multiplier. When a leader models this kind of dependence openly, honestly,
It lowers the barrier to entry for others.
radically, it gives aspiring leaders permission to be imperfect, to have doubts, to need help, which we all do.
Okay, so if we accept this paradox power, perfected in weakness, then our whole approach to mentorship has to change.
It absolutely must. That traditional hierarchy. Mentor as the infallible expert, mentee as the empty cup.
Gotta go.
It has to. That old structure, it just reinforces reliance on human wisdom alone.
So what replaces it?
We need to shift to what we could call an interdependence framework.
Interdependence. Okay.
We redefine the roles. Both people are on a mutual journey of dependence.
So the mentor isn't the expert anymore.
They become the lead learner, or maybe senior co-laborer. Someone further down the path, yes, but still actively growing, still depending on God every day.
And the mentee.
They're the active co-learner, the developing co-laborer. They bring their own gifts, their fresh insights, their perspectives to the table. It's valuable.
So it becomes more horizontal, rooted in a shared posture, not a vertical power structure.
Exactly. Which leads us to a really crucial nuance here. Authentic humility versus its counterfeit.
Ah. Because people can fake humility, can't they?
Yeah.
Use it strategically.
Oh, absolutely. Our sources are clear. Humility must be relational, not instrumental.
Okay, how do we tell the difference? Instrumental humility is just a tactic.
Right. It's the leader admitting a small, easily fixed mistake only to build trust or distract from something bigger.
Like strategic self-abasement.
Precisely. Like taking the blame for something after the client's already happy with how it was fixed. It looks humble, but it's calculated.
Okay, so relational humility is...
It flows from the heart. It's genuine. It means truly valuing the other person's perspective, sometimes even above your own.
being open to correction, even when it's tough.
Yes. And admitting weakness even when it feels risky or inconvenient. That relational posture, that's what builds the deep trust needed for real interdependence.
Okay, that's the theory. Interdependence. Relational humility. Now let's get practical. Application time.
Right, because dependence isn't just an idea.
No, it's cultivated through daily disciplines. And the key is that you, the leader, have to model these things for your mentees.
They need to see it lived out.
Absolutely. So, first up, prayer. And we're not talking just routine words.
No, this has to be intentional, vulnerable, maybe even confessional reflection.
Right. The mentor needs to model praying for wisdom, for strength, for guidance with the mentee.
Showing that the answer comes from somewhere beyond the mentor's own experience.
Exactly. And even in a secular setting, this translates right. It means modeling deep, intentional reflection, taking tough problems to objective wisdom sources, not just relying on your own gut.
Definitely. Next is shared scripture engagement, or maybe more broadly, filtering decisions through objective truth.
So not just going with gut feel or the latest corporate trend.
No, the dependent leader models how to grapple with a consistent guide for Christians, the Bible, to shape decisions. You actually invite mentees into that messy process.
Show them how you wrestle with it, how you use it as your guidepost.
Yes, letting them see the struggle, not just the neat answer.
Okay, then there's spiritual community. Modeling dependence isn't a solo act.
Crucial point. Leaders have to show they're also seeking and accepting accountability and wise counsel from others.
Like Proverbs says, where there is much counsel, there is victory.
It sends a powerful message to the mentee. I'm not self-sufficient either. I need the community, the body, just like you do.
Okay, and finally, this one might be the most radical for our culture.
Sabbath and rest.
Right. In our always-on, achievement-driven world.
Just stopping.
Right?
Observing regular rest, it's a profound act of dependence.
It's basically declaring, this whole thing, the ministry, the project, the company, it won't fall apart if I stop working for a bit.
Trusting that success depends on more than just your effort.
And that's that the rubber really meets the road today, isn't it? Modeling rest means setting real boundaries.
Like the CEO actually having non-negotiable email cutoffs on the weekend.
Yeah. Showing the team that sustainable excellence needs reliance on something bigger, not just endless hustle.
Demonstrating that success depends on grace and the system's strength, not just one person burning out.
So the challenge we want to leave you with, maybe think about it as a 90-day plan. It's simple, but profound.
Prayerfully identify just one person to invest in.
But here's the key. Your goal isn't to make a mini-me, not to replicate your image.
No. The goal is to nurture their humility, their potential for multiplication.
By showing them how you depend on God or on that higher wisdom.
Be really intentional with that investment. Make sure your legacy echoes your dependence, not just your name.
So what does this all mean? Well, it means you gain this rare, powerful ability.
The ability to develop people who don't just copy your methods,
but who actually embody your posture of humble, maybe Christ-like dependence.
When leaders embrace their own need for God or for that grounding wisdom and model it openly,
They stop being the bottleneck, the single point of failure.
and they start a ripple effect, influence that goes way beyond their own time there.
So, final thought here. If true strength really is found in acknowledged weakness,
And if your influence truly multiplies through surrender,
then ask yourself this. What ingrained assumptions about power and control do you need to release, starting today?
to create that lasting legacy of grace-based mentoring tomorrow.